maximizing your CTRM, how you and your team can get the most value out of your current CTRM. A few years ago, we did a series, a 5-part series on just that, how to get the most value out of your CTRM. Today, we're going to be going through an update to that series on the 3 tips for each of the 5 stages in the CTRM journey, because a lot has changed. With the coronavirus, with work from home, new U.S. president, extremely volatile markets, and the war. Hope you enjoy.
Hi everyone, Matt Sheets, one of the partners of Veritas. Over the past few years, there's been a lot of consolidation within the ETRM, CTRM solution space. And what that's done is that's led people to think, oh, we don't need a system selection, we only have one vendor, or we don't need a system selection because the company that provides our ERP solution, it can provide our ETRM or CTRM solution. That's not the case. Now more than ever, people need to do a system selection, and as a reminder, we wanted to touch on 3 points plus a bonus point on what to consider when doing a system selection. These aren't earth-shattering, but they're good practices that we've seen people time and time again forget to do. So the first one is make sure and understand your strategic goals. What is the long-term plan for the business? What you don't want to do is invest hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in a solution that doesn't support your business 5 years from now. So make sure, do a pulse check, understand where the business is going, not just what's important today, but what's going to be important tomorrow, and make sure and incorporate that into your system selection. Point number 2 is define your architecture. Understand IT trends along with the business trends that we mentioned in point 1, and make sure and understand your comprehensive architecture and how your ETRM or CTRM solution fits within that architecture. How are you going to handle reporting? How are you going to handle advanced analytics? All of that needs to be considered when you're doing a system selection so that you can get your criteria and your requirements right. Which leads me to point number 3. Establish the criteria for the solution and how you're going to evaluate the different solutions early. I like to use very quantitative methods when doing a system selection, but more important than the exact number that comes out of that system selection and out of that quantitative evaluation is having alignment within the stakeholders on what's important and being able to have a discussion on, hey, I like the look and feel of this solution better, but this other one fits my overall architecture better. How are we going to decide? Being able to have a framework of 5 to 10 criteria by which to have a conversation among the stakeholders is really, really important. It will make your system selection more efficient, and it will help you make an informed decision. The bonus that we want to make sure and highlight is involve users, involve stakeholders early and often. This doesn't have to be a 3-month project. It can be very, very simple, but the more you get the users of the solution and the stakeholders of the solution involved early, the more they have a sense of ownership, the more they are vetted in making sure that that solution, when you go to implement it, is going to work for them. So again, nothing earth-shattering in terms of these things and your system selection, but they're things that we see people forget time and time again. And when they go to do an implementation, it's that much harder because they didn't choose the right system, they didn't get stakeholder and user involvement, or they're trying to force something into an architecture that they didn't think of ahead of time, or trying to get something out of a solution even though they didn't choose it for a certain criteria.